Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from first group, consists of 4 members. They are Agung Subiantoro, Hanifah Khoirunnisa, Kurnia Sulkhiyah, and Nimas. Now we will giving presentation with the topic is the entrepreneurial mindset. First is, what is mindset? It has traditionally been defined as the stability set of attitude held by someone. Secara tradisional, didefinisikan sebagai suatu aturan sikap yang diatur oleh seseorang. Research has shown that our mindset need be set at all. Stanford University Psychology Carol Dweck proposed that there are two different types of mindset. First is fixed mindset and second is growth mindset. Penelitian telah menunjukkan bahwa pola pikir kita tidak perlu diatur sama sekali. Jurusan psikologi dari Universitas Stanford oleh Carol Dweck mengusulkan bahwa ada dua jenis pola pikir yang berbeda. Yang pertama, pola pikir tetap atau fixed mindset, dan pola pikir berkembang atau growth mindset. Fixed mindset is the assumption held by people who perceive their talent and ability as set trait. Growth mindset is assumption held by people who believe that their abilities can be developed through dedication, effort, and hard work. Maksudnya adalah, pada fixed mindset, orang menganggap bakat dan kemampuan mereka sebagai sifat yang tetap ditetapkan. Mereka percaya bahwa otak dan bakat saja sudah cukup untuk sukses dan menjalani hidup dengan tujuan terlihat pintar setiap saat. Mereka menerima kritik konstruktif dari kemampuan mereka secara sangat pribadi dan cenderung menghubungkan kesuksesan orang lain dengan keberuntungan atau semacam keuntungan yang tidak adil. Orang-orang dengan mindset tetap akan mengatakan pada diri mereka sendiri bahwa mereka tidak pandai dalam sesuatu untuk menghindari tantangan hingga kegagalan. Di sisi lain, dalam growth mindset, orang percaya bahwa kemampuan mereka dapat dikembangkan melalui dedikasi, usaha, dan kerja keras. Mereka berpikir otak dan bakat bukanlah kunci kesuksesan seumur hidup, tetapi hanya titik awal. Orang-orang dengan mindset berkembang sangat ingin meningkatkan kualitas hidup mereka melalui pembelajaran, pelatihan, praktik, dan lain hal, tidak seperti orang dengan fixed mindset. Mereka melihat kegagalan sebagai kesempatan untuk meningkatkan kinerja mereka dan untuk belajar dari kesalahan mereka. Meskipun mengalami kemunduran, mereka cenderung bertahan daripada menyerah. Selanjutnya adalah the power of mindset. The power of mindset. A part of the practice of entrepreneurship is being the right mindset to start and grow a business. Salah satu bagian dari praktek entrepreneurship adalah memiliki pola pikir yang tepat untuk memulai dan mengembangkan bisnis. One of the right mindset is when we have knowledge, experience, and also have an open mind, which made us curious about potential opportunity and something. Salah satu bentuk pola pikir yang tepat adalah ketika kita memiliki pengetahuan dan pengalaman yang disandingkan dengan pemikiran terbuka akan membuat kita memiliki rasa ingin tahu tentang peluang potensial di suatu bidang tertentu. Contohnya, Robert Donat, who's founder of GPS, combined his knowledge from working in two diverse areas, first the army and the second hedge funds, to create a new hardware of software fleet tracking solution. Donat said that he owes his success to his previous work experience and the technical and business knowledge he gained during that time. Okay, enough from me. The next presentation will be presenting by Hanifah.
Okay, for the next presentation, we will learn about the self-leadership habit. How to develop the habit of self-leadership. For the first, we must know what it is. Our self-leadership. Self-leadership is a process where people can influence and control their own behavior, actions, and thinking to achieve the self-direction and self-motivation necessary to build their entrepreneurial understanding of self and an ability to motivate oneself to act. So, you cannot rely on someone else to manage you, catch you up in the morning, or force to get the work done. And oftentimes, no one gives you feedback, no one reprimands you, no one to reward you. So, self-leadership is required. For the next, strategies to develop the habit of self-leadership. The first is behavior-focused strategies. These strategies help increase self-awareness to manage behaviors, particularly when dealing with necessary but unpleasant tasks. These strategies include self-observation, self-goal setting, self-reward, self-punishment, and self-chewing. For the first, we discuss about self-observation. Self-observation raises our awareness of how, when, and why we behave the way we do in certain circumstances. For example, twice a day, you could stop and deliberately ask yourself questions about what you are accomplishing, what you are not accomplishing, what is standing in your way, and how you feel about what's happening in this day. And for the next is self-goal setting. Self-goal setting is the process of setting individual goals for ourselves. This is especially effective when it accompanied by self-reward, ways in which we compensate ourselves when we achieve our goals. And then self-reward. Self-reward is a process that involves compensating ourselves when we achieve our goals. These rewards can be tangible or intangible. For example, for intangible, you might mentally congratulate yourself when you have achieved your goal. For tangible, you might go out for a celebratory meal or buy yourself a new pair of shoes. For the next is self-punishment. Self-punishment, we can say self-correcting feedback. This is a process that allows us to examine our own behavior in a constructive way in order to reshape those behaviors. Ideally, self-punishment or self-correcting feedback is a process. For example, if we make a mistake, we can assess why it happened and make a conscious effort not to repeat it. So, and then self-chewing. For the next is self-chewing. Self-chewing is the process of prompting that acts as a reminder of desired goals and keeps your attention on what you are trying to achieve. Much of our behavior is influenced by the way we think, and the habit of thinking in a certain way is derived from our assumptions and beliefs. This quiz might take the form of making lists, notes, or having motivational posters on your wall. They act as a reminder of your desired goals and keep your attention on what you are trying to achieve. And the closing is, we can use positive self-talk to change our mindset and thought patterns by engaging in dialogue with that irrational voice in our heads that tell us when we can't do something. These behavioral self-leadership strategies are designed to bring about successful outcomes through positive behaviors and suppress or eliminate those negative behaviors that lead to bad consequences. The concept of self-leadership has been related to many other areas such as optimism, happiness, consequences, emotional intelligence, among others. We believe self-leadership to be an essential process for helping entrepreneurs build and grow their business ventures.
So guys, the next habit is the creativity habit. About the definition, creativity is covers such a wide breadth of process on people, from artists to writers to inventors to entrepreneurs, all of whom could be described as creative. Yet creativity can be elusive, and sometimes we spot it only after it is presented to us. Take the classic invention, for instance. Sometimes we look at this invention and wonder why on earth we hadn't thought of them ourselves. Despite its elusive nature and no concrete or accurate definition of creativity, however, I have found a definition of creativity from a source that defines creativity as the capacity to generate new ideas, insight, invention, product, or artist objects that are considered unique, useful, and of value to others. For example, Slavislav and Kristina Svetanova, CEO founders of Blitep, Austria-based technology, has received many awards for their creativity in building the world's first tablet for the visually impaired. Again, creativity is not something we are born with, but a skill that is developed. Creativity is creating in action. So, creative people have several characteristics, including open to experience, persistent, adaptable, original, motivated, independent, and they are not afraid of failure. So, what has creativity got to do with entrepreneurship? First, there is some evidence that entrepreneurs are more creative than others. A study published in 2008 found that students enrolled in entrepreneurship programs scored higher in personal creativity than students from other programs. This tells that while everyone has the capacity to be creative, entrepreneurs score higher on creativity simply because they are practicing the creative process more regularly. And next, about emotional inhibition factors that affect creativity. James L. Adams, a Stanford University professor who specialized in creativity, identified 6 main emotional roadblocks preventing us from practicing creativity. The first is fear. The second is no appetite for thoughts, and then preference for judging over generating ideas, and then dislike for incubating ideas, and then perceived lack of challenge and inability to distinguish reality from fantasy. Out of the 6 emotional roadblocks, it's fear that has the most detrimental effect on our capacity to be creative. The danger of fear is that it can cause self-doubt, insecurity, and discomfort even before the beginning of the creative process. It can also block us from sharing our creativity with others because of the risk of failure, negative feedback, or ridicule. Therefore, we need to learn how to manage fear by recognizing it and then shifting the focus to activities that are more pleasurable rather than give into it. Next is about creative mind. In human anatomy, it has long been known that the brain is divided into 2 hemispheres. In general, the left hemispheres control movement, sensation, and perception on the right side of our body, and the right hemisphere does the same on the left side of our body. This is why an injury to the left side of the brain can result in impairment or paralysis of the right side of the body, and vice versa. In the 1996, researchers proposed that each of the two hemispheres of the brain has different thinking and emotional function. This idea was later extended to purpose and left brain and right brain orientation as if they were personality types. And the next habit is the improvisation habit. About the definition, improvisation is the art of spontaneously creating something without preparation. Improvisation is connected to the mindset because it helps us develop the cognitive ability to rapidly sense and act as well as change direction quickly. However, many of us are afraid to develop ideas for fear that their ideas will not be accepted by others. Therefore, one of the most useful improvisation exercises for dealing with this fear is the yes and principle. This means listening to what other people have to say and building on that by starting with the word yes and. For example, consider the following conversation of three friends. Peter, I have a great idea for a healthy dried fruit snack for kids that contains less sugar than any other brand on the market. Teresa, hasn't this been done already? The market is saturated with this kind of product. Sammy, I think it's an interesting idea, but I have heard that this product costs a fortune to manufacture and produce. In this conversation, Peter has barely touched on his idea before it gets shot down by the others. Peter may not be conscious of it, but the reaction from his friends changed his mindset from positive to negative, instantly limiting his freedom to expand the idea further rather than offering their assistance. Sammy and Teresa rely on judgment and say rather than helping Peter to build on his idea. Now let's take a look at how the yes and principle can completely change the tone and output of the conversation. Peter, I have a great idea for a healthy dried fruit snack for kids that contains less sugar than any other brand on the market. Teresa, yes, and each snack could contain a card with a fun fact or maybe some kind of riddle. Sammy, yes, and if enough cards are collected, you can go online and win a small prize. Using yes and Peter and his friend have managed to celebrate a wonderful idea and inject a little positivity into the conversation. Now, we know that anyone can improvise, but why aren't more of us doing it? Self-doubt is the most common barrier to improvisation. As most people say, I don't want to put my ideas forward. I had public speaking. What if I freeze? And everyone was, what if I make a fool of myself? Not being able to answer doubt is the fear of failure, which stems from the being able to plan ahead. But people who engage in improv are actually more tolerant of failure because it helps us break away from traditional strategic thinking. Realize that our need for control opens our mind, improves our listening skills, and builds our confidence by encouraging us to think quickly under pressure.
Okay, then the mindset is the pathway to action. There is no entrepreneurship without an action, and the mindset is antecedent to action. Seperti pembahasan yang sebelumnya, berwirausaha membutuhkan kebiasaan kepemimpinan diri, kreativitas, dan improvisasi atau pengembangan. Walaupun Anda memiliki ide yang terbaik, ide yang sangat maju, tapi pola pikir Anda tidak berpikir untuk lebih maju, dan tanpa adanya usaha, tentunya tidak akan menghasilkan apapun. Mengambil tindakan merupakan cara yang memperoleh hasil. But taking action requires a degree of confidence and belief in our abilities and an attribute known as self-efficacy. Apa itu self-efficacy? Self-efficacy merupakan kepercayaan diri pada seseorang ketika melakukan kegiatan. Misalnya dia melakukan kegiatan di level A, dia hanya merasa bahwa dirinya hanya mampu di level tersebut dan tidak ingin maju. Pola pikir ini jika dia tidak ingin maju atau mencoba level yang lain, misalnya level B, tentunya dia tidak akan berkembang. Nah, tentunya dalam berwirausaha membutuhkan latihan yang tepat untuk mencapai kesuksesan. Ketika orang percaya mereka mampu berhasil, mereka akan melakukan aktivitas yang tepat dengan kemampuan yang telah ia kembangkan untuk memperoleh hasil yang tepat. I think enough for our presentation. If we have any mistake, please forgive us, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.